Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of Acidhedz Discussion Zone. Okay, so this one's kind of an insert episode. Unplanned, it just occurred to me to do it, so it's not like this is a high budget show. Nah. Right? So, issue gun control in America. I resisted doing this one as a topic because, one, I wanted to focus on things that people from anywhere and everywhere could discuss, and this is a local issue, as it were. But if you're not from America, feel free to chime in, especially if you're from countries that either have no gun control or lots of it. Maybe actually hearing from people that live in other countries might give people a clue here what it's like being in those countries instead of just quoting statistics. And I'm not looking up any facts for my little rant here, or rant or monologue, I guess is what it should be called. I'm not really ranting, just talking about the issue, opening up the discussion. And I'm just going to go with just logic. So basically I'm just going to tackle the things that people that like guns and want to prevent all gun control. I'm going to tackle some of the things that they tend to bring up. Okay, or at least the 2 or 3 biggest. Probably just the 2. Which is, and I'll start with protection. The other one is preventing the government from just rolling all over everybody. But the first one is protection. Now, I will quote the only statistic that I'm going to for this monologue, which is your chances of being robbed are like 1 in 400 and something in America. Now, that is for any kind of robbery. The chances of you being home when your home is broken into are very low. Okay? So, I don't have a clue what that reduces your odds to of actually ever being in a situation where having a gun is going to help you stop a robbery of your property. But I would imagine it's extremely unlikely to happen, because people that know what they're doing either break in during the day when everybody's at work, or they case a house. They make sure no one's there. They don't want to get involved in a homicide. Theft, not a huge deal most of the time as far as going to prison. It's not a huge, it's not a long sentence. Most of them probably already been sent up for it already anyway, so no big deal. Murder, whole other ball game. So the chances of you ever actually being at home when a robbery occurs, very low. Now, this also brings up the point of where do all the guns come from that are out on the street? Because this is another of the protection things that is always brought up by the people that like guns is, well, if you take away our guns, it's just going to make it to where the only people that have them are the criminals. Well, where do you think the criminals get their guns? Most of them. Okay? Most of them don't get them from arms dealers. Terrorists might get them from arms dealers. Big crime syndicates and really large gangs might get them from gun dealers, but the vast majority of guns out on the street are gotten from 2 places: gun stores and people's homes that they're stolen from. So, this notion that having fewer guns in your homes is just going to make it so where they have more guns, or they're the only ones with the guns, is, again, an illogical fallacy, because you are the people that most of them get their guns from initially, because they're stolen from people like you and sold on the streets. In fact, having guns in your home and having this fact known makes you more likely to get robbed, because guns are a valuable street commodity. It's an easy thing to fence. So these are things you actually need to think about beyond your gut reaction, your emotional knee-jerk reaction to the idea, your fear, your paranoia of being robbed, which is all it is. The odds are not saying, the odds simply are against you ever being robbed. And if you are robbed, the chances of you ever actually being there to do anything about it, as I said, very, 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 very low. You probably have a better chance of winning a minor lottery from a ticket or something than ever actually being able to prevent a robbery. Okay? So, you are already not using your heads in fabricating these arguments. You need to try some logic once in a while. Okay, now, the whole idea of the general public stopping the military from taking over. Have you ever paid attention to our military lately? Seems like every other day there's some snafu going on, some foobar situation with, soldiers criticizing the president, which of course conservatives are thumbs up on, never mind the fact that someone in the military is essentially committing treason by doing that. I guess you're okay with treason. Tons of incidences. People pissing on dead bodies, apparently. So this is the military that you think that the government is somehow going to con into taking over from all of you. They're your sons and daughters that are in the military, and our military just isn't like the militaries of the past that have actually done this sort of thing. They have too much information. Okay, this is not a situation where it's possible to brainwash them. Yes, there is some of the military brainwashing that is just inevitable with a military situation. People being in the military of the you say jump, I say how high crap. But it doesn't really cross the line of, say, fascist totalitarian Russia. Because, again, this is another thing you idiots don't ever seem to comprehend, is that there's been no proper or real communist country. They're all totalitarian fascisms, dictatorships, tyrannies. None of them were communist. Sound it out. I'm getting off topic here, but I've started. I'm not going to stop. Communism. Commune. Everyone together. Community. Ism. As in everybody owns everything together. That is communism. What did Russia do? The state owned everything. That is totalitarian dictatorship. Use your heads. Now, again, the idea of our military ever going along with some sort of coup. Bullshit. It ain't gonna happen. Look at our military, the people that are in our military. The mentality is not there. They would never go along with it. But even if they did, what could you do about it? You think, well, that's why I need my guns. You have toys compared to what the military has. Okay? Back in the day, everybody had cannons and muskets. And cannons were very expensive. Today, you have handguns. They have assault rifles. You have rifles. They have flamethrowers. You have semi and even automatic rifles. They have Gatling guns that can punch holes through tanks, jets, helicopters with rockets, missiles. If the military ever really tried to take over the United States, you could do fuck all about it. So, the argument is, again, totally illogical and invalid. But, as I said, never happened. So, where does this leave the whole gun control issue? The number one source for illegal guns is you, the gun-toting community. So you are contributing to the problem by buying guns. The more guns you have, and the more people know about it, the more likely you are to get robbed, actually. And then there is, of course, the third one is preventing these gun massacres, these shooting massacres. Again, simply consider the odds. The odds of anybody being in a place where somebody decides to shoot the place up that has a gun and knows how to use it properly, very low. Okay? And by having, if you did have people at these shootings that had guns of their own, you're creating crossfire. The chances of them ever actually being able to take the person out with one shot before the person can start firing, very low. Okay? I've seen you people citing, you gun lovers citing tiny pinpricks in the history of gun violence and saying, oh, that's proof of what we're talking about. But how? One person does it every once in a very long while, and that's somehow supposed to make up for the fact that 99.9% of the time either nobody has a gun, or when people do have guns in a situation like that, it just makes things worse. It doesn't gel, okay? It's illogical. You are participating in an illogical fallacy called confirmation bias. You are using very limited points of reference to justify your own view. That's illogical and irrational. Okay? If people had been at these places with guns, chances are more people would have gotten hurt because you would have had crossfire. That is just logic. I'm not looking up statistics. I'm not trying to find facts. It's just pure, unemotional logic. Because when you have one person shooting, you have one source of bullets. If you have several people shooting, you have several sources of bullets. And again, like I said, the chances of the person trying to kill other people taking them down, being taken down early in circumstances like that, very low. And in fact, even if the person was taken down quickly, you still are left with the possibility of multiple people who are scared shitless with guns, prepared to shoot at anything that fucking moves. So, there's no telling how much collateral you might end up with just because of these armed citizens. So again, your argument is totally illogical and based on emotional knee-jerk reactions and illogical fallacies. No, logic fallacies. Something like that. So, I've addressed this topic with my opinions. And of course, I expect you will have some very strong words to bring back to me. You can do it on the comments of this video on my website, acidbathproductions.biz. There will be a link to the forum underneath the video in the more info section, of course. Make that easy for you. Or you can record a video of your own and reply with it. Or a combination. Now, I only have this one thing to say. I have used strong language, so I'm not going to ask you to not do that, but you will notice that other than being rather scathing and sarcastic, I have not resorted to calling anyone any names. I don't think. If I did, sorry, I get carried away a little bit here and again, now and again. So what I do ask is that if you're going to enter into this, do it as a debater. Have real points that you can discuss rather than just throwing insults, because nobody cares what your, insults are childish. I mean, that's not having a discussion, that's just being a little prick. Okay, so that's the only thing I really have to ask is a favor, I guess I could say, because this is a very hot button issue, I'm aware. If you're going to reply, do it with some modicum of decorum. Some little bit of logic, reason, and facts. Or at least try and logically debate me here, or other people. Don't just come in spewing garbage because nobody wants to hear it and it's pointless. You are essentially adding nothing to anything. You're wasting air, so don't do it. Alright, so that's the end of this discussion topic. I'll see you on the next one, which will probably be Friday, Saturday-ish, that I'll put it up, which will be another science-based one, because that's mainly what I want to focus on instead of emotional issues like this, where people are, as I said, likely to just be assholes. about the issue instead of discussing it properly. So, thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.